All right, guys, here I'm downtown Austin, getting ready to go on the Rogan podcast here in about an hour or two. And so I just wanted to share something that I hope to discuss on the podcast. We'll see if we get to it. But, like I mentioned, I want to get this topic of this lean mass hyper-responder, to a larger audience. And obviously his audience is one of the largest in the world. And, there was, like I said, we talked about Oreo cookies and the fact that, Nick Norwitz has demonstrated, as a sort of member of this so-called lean mass hyper-responder cohort, that by just adding a dozen Oreo cookies to his diet every day with no other changes at all, no changes other than that, just completely adding a dozen Oreo cookies to his diet, he was able to drop his LDL cholesterol from 384 milligrams per deciliter down to 111 milligrams per deciliter. It's a 273-point drop for you guys that are doing the math on there. That is profound, obviously. And why does this occur? Well, it has to do with something that is proposed called the lipid energy model. Basically, as our cells are filled up with glycogen and other fuel, our liver cells, our muscle cells, in a relatively high carb state, what happens is there's less need to traffic energy in the blood because the cells already got there. Like, hey, we already got energy. But if you change that and all of a sudden you're in a low carb state, you're lean and you don't have as much excess, I suppose, energy floating around, well, then what happens is the liver gets a signal like, hey, these cells need more food, they need more energy. So our body sort of produces more energy in the form of fats, triglycerides, and then with that comes this cholesterol. And so that is the rationale for why cholesterol may change so dramatically. We see that with fasting studies. You put somebody on a 7-day fast, their cholesterol is going to go up. And you're like, well, does that mean not eating is a problem, right? Should we always be eating? And so this is why, when you add that extra energy back in the form of energy-dense food like Oreo cookies, you're going to see that cholesterol drop. Now, the question is that, the other question to that is, what about this situation where your cholesterol is really high over time? Is that a problem? Well, the traditional and the dogma for the lipid, diet heart hypothesis is that yes, long-term exposure to cholesterol is going to lead to cardiovascular disease over time. So this sort of lean mass hyper-responder study that is about to be released, and the data on that's going to come out on December 8th, at least preliminary data, is likely. Can't say for sure because they're not releasing the details, but we know that the incidence of cardiovascular disease or atherosclerotic disease in that cohort, the people with the super high cholesterol, is extremely, extremely low at baseline. So that in itself is kind of earth-shaking, I suppose. Now, what they're going to be doing beyond that is extending it out for a year and then following up very closely with very high-resolution CT angiography, which is very, very detailed at showing progression of plaque. Now, if it does not show any plaque progression or shows minimal plaque progression or shows, God forbid, reversal of plaque, then that is going to be really, kind of earth-shattering to the whole cholesterol always causes heart disease. At the very least, you could say, hey, maybe it's a dependent variable, and maybe in these people, these keto people, these lean people that otherwise are healthy, it's not the concern that we're being told it is. Anyway, more to come. Like I said, hopefully I'll be able to share some of this on Rogan. Thanks to Nick Norwitz and some of the other guys, of course, Dave Feldman, this has been his passion for almost a decade. And so, and some of the other great researchers that are involved in this. Anyway, guys, you guys have a great day, and I'm sure I'll let you guys know how Rogan went. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.